14 months ago, I made a big life change and left my six-figure data science job to pursue entrepreneurship full-time. The burning question people have when I tell them about this is, how do you make money? Here, I want to pull back the curtain and share all the different ways I scraped together cash in my first year of entrepreneurship. This is not meant to be a flex, but rather it's meant to serve as a realistic reference for anyone considering a similar journey. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm Shah. I make videos about data science and entrepreneurship. And if you enjoy this content, please consider clicking that subscribe button. That's a great no-cost way you can support me in all the videos that I make. Before diving into my income sources, here's a quick recap of my journey so far. In 2019, I stumbled into data science while getting my physics PhD. In 2020, I started making technical content and sharing it on Medium and YouTube. In 2021, I began picking up freelance gigs through Upwork and Referrals. In 2022, I completed my PhD and started working at Toyota as a data scientist. Then in 2023, I left my full-time role to make my side hustles my main hustle. The upcoming breakdown is based on my revenue between July 2023 when I left my job and July 2024. I'll review my 9 different income sources in descending order and share details about how each work. My biggest revenue source was my blog on Medium, which earned me $6,123.49. This works via Medium's Partners program, where writers get paid based on engagement on members-only stories. While I've written articles on a wide range of topics, my top earning stories tend to be the ones on data science topics published in Towards Data Science. My second biggest income source was AI consulting contracts, which earned me $5,825.38. Since I had some freelance experience under my belt when I left my job, I expected this to be my main source of income. However, that's not how things worked out. One reason for this is that I wasn't actively applying for jobs on Upwork like I was doing back in grad school. Instead, I relied solely on inbound leads that came through YouTube and other content channels. Over the 6 months that I was doing AI consulting contracts, I took 36 discovery calls, 2 of which turned into contracts. During this time, I also realized that consulting was too much like working a job. There'd be weekly calls, email exchanges, and spending my time on other people's goals rather than my own. That's why in March 2024, I stopped taking on AI consulting contracts. If you're curious about the details of that decision, I talk more about it in a previous video. My next biggest income source was YouTube, which made me $5,066.26. Similar to Medium's Partners program, YouTubers get paid to make content. The key difference, however, is that monetization mainly comes from ad revenue rather than premium memberships. My top earning YouTube videos tend to track with my top earning Medium articles. However, I get significantly more inbound leads from YouTube than Medium, which makes YouTube potentially a lot more valuable. The fourth biggest income source was paid calls, which earned me $3,263.34. This is a lighter version of the AI consulting work that I mentioned earlier. Rather than working on medium to long-term projects with clients, these calls are limited to short 30 to 60-minute interactions. I like this because it doesn't require the overhead cost of discovery calls, contract writing, and scheduling meetings. Clients can directly book times and pay for services all through my Calendly page, which makes this a much more convenient exchange for both sides. Okay, now we're starting to get into the long tail of my revenue sources. The fifth source came from a single 90-minute AI workshop for a large company. I charged $2,250 for the session plus the recording. While this opportunity sort of fell out of the sky, I realized 2 things after doing it. 1, I enjoyed putting the workshop together, and 2, I could provide this as a formal service to businesses. This is what led me to launch my custom AI training service last month. Beyond being another revenue source, a key benefit of this offer is that it's a great opportunity for me to develop my sales and marketing skills, which are probably my biggest weakness as an entrepreneur. My sixth revenue source came from a referral, which paid me $1,000. Even though I closed the door on project-based consulting work back in March, I still get inquiries about these opportunities. Rather than simply saying no to these opportunities and moving on, I pass these leads to a list of AI consulting firms that I trust. And out of the 7 introductions I did like this, one of them closed, and that firm paid me a $1,000 referral fee. The 7th way I made money was through Buy Me a Coffee. This is a platform that allows audiences to support creators. Although I don't advertise this much, I made $533.13 from this. The 2 main places that this is linked is the Give a Tip button at the bottom of my Medium articles and the support button on the GitHub repo with all my example code. 8th on the list was a book review, which paid me $350. A couple of years ago, I made a series of videos and blogs on causality, which led to the opportunity to review a recent textbook called Causal Inference in Python. Basically, I was given an advanced copy of the textbook and I shared my technical notes and suggestions to improve the text. And the final income source was a brand deal. This consisted of putting a link in the description of how to make a custom Gmail signature video. I was paid a flat fee and commission for anyone that purchased their product through that affiliate link. I made a total of $233.42 for sharing that link in the description for 6 months, plus commission on one purchase. Adding all these income sources together comes to a grand total of $24,644.92. While this is nowhere near as much as I got paid as a data scientist, it's also not a trivial amount of money, which gives me just enough confidence to keep going. I've learned a lot and made a lot of mistakes this past year. That's why I want to end with 3 takeaways that would have been helpful to me before taking the leap. First, if you've got savings, don't be afraid of 0 income months. I had about 1 year's worth of expenses in savings when leaving my full-time job. However, after just 3 months of focusing on content creation rather than making money, I got antsy and reallocated my focus to contract work. In hindsight, this was a mistake. I had a ton of runway to experiment with riskier ventures such as content creation or product development. It was really too early to focus on safer ventures such as freelance. The second takeaway is that some things can only be learned after taking the leap. While starting things like content creation and freelance early in my career were certainly beneficial, many of the things I've learned this past year were only possible by committing to entrepreneurship full-time. At the top of the list is learning how to stomach the emotional and financial uncertainty of this path, which nothing else can prepare you for. The third and final takeaway is that multiple income sources is not necessarily a good thing. Although having some income diversification is good, having 9 different revenue sources like me is a sign that something's not working yet or I'm spreading myself too thin. That's why I'm slowly learning to say no to opportunities and focusing my efforts on content creation and product development. That wraps up my first year as a full-time entrepreneur. While entrepreneurship is not easy and not for everyone, I hope this video provided at least some value to those pursuing a similar journey. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below and I'll happily share more about my experience. And as always, thank you so much for your time and thanks for watching.